We should be up and running now at this point. Lisa, if you look on your right-hand side of the screen towards the bottom, there's a icon where you can decide how to split the screens. Grid usually does the best to show everybody at first. And if you click on one individual person, there'll be a button that you over that says focus. And you can make them the solo screen at any point, like you would with StreamYard.
Okay, where's that at? Because I was getting chat on the screen here.
It's on the right-hand side towards the bottom.
Okay, I see it.
So you can pick whichever one you want, whatever makes sense. You're the one handling the show at this point.
Okay.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. That's weird. I don't know what's the chat look like.
I don't know that you and I can actually see it. That's the only other drawback to this. I don't know if you and I can actually read it without actually pulling it up on YouTube ourselves on an extra phone or something.
Studio chat.
Studio chat would be just for the four of us.
Okay, so that's like the private chat in StreamYard. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. I don't know that we can actually see. I think Lisa might be the only one that can see the actual audience chat.
Am I the only one that hears all that beeping?
I hear no beeping.
So yes, that's just you.
Sampy's in here and Wabash Nada's in here.
Fantastic.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Welcome to the first episode of Whiskers Gone Wild.
And everything's already gone wild.
It has. My boat motor is not working. I was late as usual because I had too much packed in today. Yeah, Father's Day weekend. Been busy. But we're here. We're going to try to do some fishing.
This beeping's going to drive me crazy.
I don't hear any beeping.
That's weird because I don't hear it.
You're the only one that hears it.
It's going dink, dink. About every 5 seconds.
That's really weird.
Yeah, I don't.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, what?
On the right-hand side where it shows the participants tab, try pausing his upload. You see the beeping goes away. Another thing you could try, Chris, is to minimize or turn your notification volume down and see if that goes away. Like not your call and not your media, but your notification setting.
Pause him.
See if that helps it. You say you don't see it, Lisa?
What am I supposed
Uh-oh, things are getting serious. Chris put his glasses on.
I will say, Lisa, you were very quiet. I heard beeping then, but that... Huh.
You say that helped?
It did not.
No, he said it did not help.
Oh.
Why am I a little bitty screen in the bottom right corner and you guys are all big?
It's just the way it does it. It's not actually how it looks.
Okay. Just checking.
Should I put my phone sideways or straight up and down?
I would do sideways, but it's just me. Because it'll send me a full recording of whatever. Oh, you know what? It may not switch now because you already entered the chat that way or entered the thing that way, which is fine. It's no big deal. As long as your fish are in your frame, however you have it. Like I said, it works. I use it for the podcast, and it works great. And I just like the idea of having the full recordings later for editing purposes and whatnot. If we can make it work. If we can't, it is what it is. But that's why I didn't want to pay for the upgrade first. So. But hey, we're here. Things are going on.
Hey, folks, real quick. We're trying to work through this this different streaming service. So, I don't think any of us but Yak has used this before. So we're just trying to figure out how all this works. What is that little? It says I have 82% next to my little red dot.
Yes, that is your upload for that video. That is recording. That's the full recording thing I'll talk about later. At the end, when we finish this, you'll need to wait for it to say 100%, and then everybody's good to go, and I'll have a full video of the full stream from your camera to edit with later, and to give to you to edit with later or whatever. That's the reason we're using the software, is because of that part right there. But that part might be the part that's beeping and driving Chris nuts, because he's the only one that can hear it. And I don't know for sure if that's what it is or not, but he's the only one that can hear it beeping. So,
what did you say might be beeping?
the uploading part of the video recording that I was telling you about, that the software does.
I don't like it.
You got an Android, right, Chris? That's the problem.
Shut up.
I have an Android and it's working fine.
Oh, don't help him out.
Hey, I was just getting ready to say it. Quit, and then did it again.
So,
all right,
welcome to Whiskers Gone Wild, everybody.
Yeah, welcome. Tonight's episode is about anchor fishing, which is great because that's about all I can do at this point.
Should I try to leave and come back?
I do have. The problem with that is that it might not give me your video recording later. But if you're okay with that, then it is what it is. But if it's driving you nuts, it's driving you nuts. So I don't want you going crazy over the night.
We'll see.
So
we'll see how it goes.
Worst case scenario, at least it stops us when we restart when you get back in. That's the way around it.
There's got to be a way to make it stop beeping.
Right, and that's why I said if you're on Android, there should be 4 volume settings. One's for tools, one's for notifications,
I've already
one's for
turned my
calls, and one's for
notifications
media.
all the way down. And it's just as loud as it always been.
That's really weird. I don't know why it's in you. I really have no idea what that is, Chris. That's the first I've dealt with it with anybody. I've had several guests on panel during the podcast, and I never had him say anything about it beeping. So, are you using Skylink? Is it maybe something to do with that?
No, I'm not. I don't have my Starlink.
That's what I meant. Sorry.
So who all we got in chat tonight right now, Lisa, other than Sampy and you said Wabash Nate?
Wabash Nate and Joshua just came in and said, good evening. I went fishing today. Didn't catch anything.
Oh, sorry, bud.
Part of fishing, man. That's called fishing, not catching, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, bear with me. I got to put my trolling motor down. I got about a 3/4 of a mile troll to go through to get to the spot, and I'll be able to start fishing too. But we can definitely talk about tonight's subject on the way out there, or Dustin and Chris can talk about it as well. Today we're talking about anchor fishing from a boat.
Dominic Hollis came in and said, if Chris is using a Bluetooth, tell him to switch ears.
I have no Bluetooth. I'm new and I don't know what to do.
So like we talked about, tonight's episode is about anchor fishing, and I do apologize on my part. I was out to my first spot. I was going to wait till we went live, and I was going to drop my anchor, talk about why I put it where I put it, what kind of anchor I've got, and all that good stuff. But as I was trolling around, waiting to drop my anchor, I looked up and I saw lightning in the distance. So I booked it back to the ramp, and now I'm sitting in my truck, and hopefully this lightning will pass, and I will get back in my boat. My boat is tied up at the dock, and I will go out and go fishing.
I'm getting heat lightning around me.
Well, heat lightning's okay, right? I'm under the impression it can't kill you.
It freaked me out at first.
I was seeing. What was that, Chris?
It freaked me out at first, but there's no thunder, there's no bolt. It's just a flash of light.
Yeah, what I was seeing was lightning up in the upper atmosphere in the clouds. I had my wife go outside and listen and look, and she did hear thunder. And then I looked up and I saw a bolt of lightning go from cloud to cloud. So I booked it back to the ramp, which, you know, Chris and I talked about earlier. I typically only go about 5 miles an hour in the dark, but when lightning's involved.
Well, I kept checking my radar too, and there's nothing.
Yeah, I look at my radar. There's no clouds. Everything's either north or south of me. But I'm looking right now. Yeah, and I'm still seeing lightning. Of course, like I said, it looks like it's. What direction am I facing? I don't know. It looks like it's west of me or north of me from where I'm sitting. But I just don't want to take any chances, so I'm going to give it give it a little bit, maybe about 20, 30 minutes, and then see if it goes away, and then I'll get back in the boat.
Are you by yourself?
Yeah.
You didn't bring Paisley?
Did not. What? Well, looks like a car is backing down the ramp, like they're going to fish out of their car or something.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't either, but my boat's down there still with all my stuff in it.
Oh.
Yeah, you probably should go check that out.
I think I'm going to.
Can you guys see my rods okay?
Yeah, I can see him. Dustin, Dom said we're fishing for you.
Oh, thank you, Dom. Appreciate that.
I know, he's so observant, isn't he?
So, Chris, how are you anchored tonight?
My anchor is a Minn Kota Tarova. It's a very expensive anchor.
Fair enough.
But what I've done is oh Lord, here comes a tree. Sorry. I'm gonna have to watch this tree. What I've done is I've come down, there's a bend in the river right here. I'm at the beginning of an outside bend, and I'm right on the channel ledge, about 30 feet deep, and off to my left it drops into 50, 55 feet, and then back behind me it goes into 70 feet. And I marked a lot of fish when I was coming up through here, and I'm out of the main part of the current, but unfortunately that means I'm right in the debris line.
Right.
But you know, the current is, my motor's only running on 2.5, so there's not a lot of current here. So if I did get a big log or something come up and hit the boat, it's not going to hurt me. It's just going to be scary.
A big thump in the night. I don't know about Dustin, but I've been doing a similar setup. I have just a power drive V2, so Gen 1 Spotlock trolling motor from Minn Kota as well. I do have I can't remember what it's called exactly anchor wise. It's the one that's got the 2 dog ears. I think it's actually better made for sand than rocks, but it is what I got. It didn't cost me anything, so it works. So I will be anchoring whichever way I need to. I hope to be able to just use the trolling the trolling motor, but since my big motor's down and it is my main source of whatever, if it starts acting like it's going to be a problem, I'm going to use the regular anchor. So.
Yeah, I've got
Dustin having some issues.
What's that, Lisa?
issues.
Hey, Lisa, on the people tab out there, you should be able to turn your volume up too, because you're really quiet. I don't know about everybody else thinks that way, but it sounds you sound really quiet compared to everybody else to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
she
can't
is
hear Lisa
now.
at all.
It,
Um,
it should show participants, and it should have like a little icon of each person's camera, and there should be a volume button below it.
How y'all doing?
I'll just have to turn the headset off.
How you doing? Good. I know. That's why I'm sitting in my truck right now. Yeah, I'm hoping so. Hey, Chris, they've got your little plastic two-person boat.
Do they?
They just pulled it out of the back of their truck.
Well, it ain't the one like I got because it won't fit in the back of the truck.
Yeah, it's not quite 12 feet long. Well, it might be. Looks like an older one though. But anyway, I've got I have a trolling motor on my boat, but it's a motor mount, so it's mounted to the cavitation plate on my main motor. So it pushes me instead of pulls me, and so when I anchor fish, I got to throw out my anchor at the front of the boat, and I've got a Never Lost Pro Series anchor for the front. I've also got a Never Lost regular series anchor in the back. Both of those were donated by Butterflies and Sunshine a couple years ago in my first trip to CatCon. So
Nice.
they have been fantastic anchors. I love the anchors. Whenever I have to use the back one, I call them the front one is Butterflies, the back one's Sunshine. So whenever I have to use Sunshine, I usually just drop it down. And it holds me in place. So
I also have a never lost anchor, but I try not to use it.
For
well,
fear of losing it?
that's a good way of never
No,
losing
just
it.
kidding.
No, it's not for fear of losing it. Number one, when you're by yourself, pulling an anchor is no fun.
That's a fact.
Especially if you're in a lot of current.
Right.
Rhonda's in here. She said, "Howdy, y'all.
Hey,
Listening,
Rhonda.
diamond painting.
Sweet.
Good luck, everyone, and stay safe, Dustin."
You are actually a little bit louder now. It's not much more, but it's definitely some.
Well,
Well,
my beeping hasn't changed.
I'm sorry, Chris.
once again, I'm not home.
Oh, yes, you're right. So you have to be quiet. I got you.
But my headset, I guess I need to plug it in. I guess I need to charge it.
Well, it is all good. I do have some exciting news, though. Kind of unrelated to the show, but at the
You
same time
do?
related since. Yeah. You know. I know Chris knows too.
Congratulations.
Yes, my wife, my daughter, and I are now members of the pro staff team for FOA.
Nice.
Welcome aboard.
Congratulations.
Accepted our letter today. We are very excited about that. We love their stuff. They're good people. We like Dustin and Chris too. You know, we fish with them.
On
Yeah,
behalf of Dustin and all the other members of the FOA squad,
And
you're
now
welcome.
fish shizzle. So
You know, apparently the world owes Chris a thank you.
well, you know. I mean, he does deal with the Yo-Yo River, so yet he's still out there fishing and helping everybody out with stuff.
I just want to be out here.
All right,
Dude,
well,
I understand entirely.
here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get in my boat. I'm going
All
to
right.
go to a spot, one of the spots that I like to fish a lot. I call it the honey hole.
Very nice.
That's where I finished up my very first pontoon Jody Flathead Challenge where Sean and I won our Yak Shore t-shirts.
This is the one with the 80-pound fish in 45 minutes or whatever it was.
Something like that. Yep, that's the one.
That was a nuts trip, man. That was fun to watch. I was happy to be there and see that for sure. You guys definitely earned the shirts. Who was that, Lisa?
Chrissy.
Chrissy. Thank you for hosting the show earlier. As you can see, I did not die from that rainstorm that tried to sweep me away. I will say I definitely planned that right by going back towards the boat launch for the last half of the trip, even though I was dragging downstream, which is a no-no.
I drag downstream sometimes.
I'm under the impression it's a no-no because your baits don't sit right. I'm assuming it depends on how much current you got.
Well, I'm not going to drag downstream if there's 3-mile-an-hour current.
We'll get into that conversation when we do our dragging show.
Okay.
Fair. Which, if I don't get this boat motor fixed this week, that'll be next week's episode. I don't know what the deal is, man. I cleaned the carburetors. Wasn't it? I made sure it was in neutral. That wasn't it. Batteries charged. I may just have to finally give in and take it to somebody. I don't know yet.
Well, I may not catch any fish, but at least my rods look good up there.
They do.
They do, and mine will too. The beautiful rods, man. I really, really, really enjoy mine. And we got that new set of the 70 ones for Shayna, and they've been awesome. I have zero complaints with them.
Which ones are those?
Well, while I'm still cruising to the spot, and Dustin's actually in a spot. Not Dustin, sorry. Chris is actually in a spot, and Dustin's trying to figure out what he's going to do when he's on the way to the honey hole. What, in your guys' opinion, makes a good anchor fishing spot? Other than the obvious, what do you guys look for specifically in ones that you're going to pick? Because there's obviously so many you could pick.
Chris, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I look for the same thing no matter what style of fishing I'm going to do. Anchor, drag, suspend drift. I'm a big fan of ledges. And if I can set up right where a ledge starts to flatten out, even if it's a secondary ledge, and a lot of times the secondary ledges are better than the main channel ledge.
Yep.
But
do you think there's a reason for that?
Well, I really don't know. I mean, I have theories. Like one theory is it's just another travel route. It could be, the bait's up on that ledge, so they go up there to feed. It could be a little bit of both. I'm not a big fan of anchor fishing. I do enjoy it from time to time, but I like to be on the move. But now when we have some decent current and there's not trash in the water, then anchor fishing can be very good because like where I'm set up right now, I've got deep water off to my left and behind me. I'm up on a secondary ledge, so I'm in a travel area. I also have some deeper water behind me, so if there's anything out in that deeper water, my scent is going back there. And as soon as they're ready to feed, all they got to do is come up on this ledge.
Right.
I don't
Makes sense to me.
It's all theory. I catfish like I would deer hunt, and I try to find where are they going to be at some point during the trip. Because when you go deer hunting, you set up on trails and travel areas and points, and I do the same thing for fishing.
I got you. Like I said, it all makes sense to me. Me personally, I'm a big fan of either finding bait or finding structure. That's usually my go-to. If I can't find bait, either due to limitations on time or in this case, I have just a trolling motor, so I can't go motoring around trying to find it. Then I'm going to look for structure, and then hopefully it'll be it. But even then, we all know anybody who's catfish for any long period of time is just because there's no bait there doesn't mean there's no catfish there. They're not always out feeding. I am a firm believer that you can typically convince them to bite, whether they're hungry or not. My thought process with that is if you put a cake on a counter and a fat kid walks by like myself, well, I'm probably gonna have a piece of that cake. So.
Chrissy said, "You did great today, Anthony." And she said, "Hey, at least you were out there, Chris. It means a lot." Sampy actually come in here again. Brian B's in here. And Tim Wheaton says you need some lighting to see you better, Anthony.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to see where I'm going right now. It'll be lit up here in a minute once I get to the spot.
So,
But at
Can y'all
2.4
hear me?
miles an hour. Yes, sir.
All right, my picture on my screen is blurry, so I didn't know if I'd frozen or not. But all right, I'm in my boat. I'm motoring to my spot, and we'll keep an eye on the lightning. So to answer your question, I'm a lot like I'm sorry, Lisa. What was that?
I said, yeah, keep an eye out for that.
I'm a lot like Chris in the fact that I like ledges. When I was fishing the tournament today, even though we were dragging, we were talking about a few things here on the upper part of the James River by the city, and he kept pointing out. He's like, "Well, there's some good structure. There's some good structure. There's some good structure," and I agree with him. That is good structure. The problem with that structure, most of it, is at about 6 hours of the day, it's out of the water. So
Sure.
because of the
So
tide.
that's a whole other problem you got to deal with that I don't. I mean, I guess that there's another point with any kind of fishing, but anchor fishing included. And obviously, how your current flows and your water levels are. The Yo-Yo River, as Chris called it, probably has some similar issue where it covers out of the water half the time too.
So obviously, if your cover's out of the water, then there's not going to be any fish in that spot. So I don't know, in my opinion, but as we stated before, we're not professionals. We're just talking about our opinions and the way we do things. But my opinion is that if structure's out of water, you're not going to find a lot of fish bedding in that area.
I would agree, 100%.
I concur.
What I try to look for, especially here on the James River, because it is a tidal river, at least up to probably about 300 yards behind me is where that tidal river part stops. I look for ledges as well, because if you look at your depth finder and you're going along, or your fish finder, you're going along and you look and you see a steep drop, right? And then I will probably tell you, or I will probably say 9 times out of 10, when I pass over that steep drop right there at the bottom where it flattens out, you're going to see arches. They're either going to be at the bottom of that, they're going to be halfway up that, or they're going to be at the top of that, but that's where a lot of the fish that I see eat.
Makes sense. I mean, it's no different than fishing flats and saltwater. The tide going up and down, the bait cycling through that, and then fish following them. But yeah, like you said, they're not going to be that cover that comes in and out of the water isn't going to be a home hole, I should say.
Right.
For sure. I don't have that problem here in the Tennessee River, thankfully. Not typically. Our water level usually is pretty stable. This year's been kind of an exception, but it's kind of been an exception for everybody this year, seems like. With all the crazy hurricanes and floods and tornadoes and such.
Yeah. I know about tornadoes in Tennessee.
Says, is Chris allowed to be out?
Yes, you do.
What was that, Lisa? I'm sorry.
Brian B said, is Chris allowed to be out by himself at this time of night? in here.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Austin. Again, appreciate the kind words, warm wishes from everybody in the FOA team.
Absolutely. Well deserved.
I was
Yeah,
trying
I
to
was
take a nap and
driving.
everybody was. I was trying to take a nap and everybody was congratulating you.
You're welcome.
Oh, good. I was on the way to a get together, and my wife called me. She's like, "You need to check your messenger." I'm like, "I'm driving." She's like, "You need to check your messenger." I'm driving. What does it say? I know she's way excited too. And Josie just likes fishing. She's there for the ride.
Absolutely.
So one other thing I would like to say about anchor fishing. Am I echoing real bad?
I don't hear any echo.
Okay.
The only echo I hear at all seems like it's coming from Dustin, but it's not that bad.
But one necessity for anchor fishing is a coffee thermos.
Correct.
We're about to find out if this coffee's still hot. This is from this morning.
I can guarantee it is. I have one of those.
I put this coffee in at 5 a.m. this morning.
Is that one of those Stanley ones?
Oh yeah.
Yes, it is.
Bobcat, no, he has not. He said, "Did you get your
No.
motor fixed?"
That is
No,
why
he
everything's
hasn't
dark.
yet.
I am trolling to the spot right now.
I see steam. Cheers.
But I'm trolling this right now. Cheers.
It's not piping hot, but it's hot.
It's not cool.
It's not cool. No.
All right,
I'll tell you
Look
another.
at all.
I'll tell you another thing that's not cool. Is this bag blasted beeping every 5 seconds.
Again, I don't know what the deal is with that, man. I'm sorry.
You know that it's like a boop when you get like a notification. Boop. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it
Well, that's
sounds
what I
like.
was wondering. I was wondering if that's why I mentioned the notification volume
Every
thing.
volume I have
If
is
it gets,
turned all the way down, and the only way I can make it quieter is to turn the main volume down, and then I can't hear you guys either.
well, that definitely makes it harder.
Bobcat says he likes the
I'm
decals
surprised
on the
chat doesn't hear
thermos.
it.
I can't
What's
hear
that,
it.
Lisa? I'm
Chat's
sorry.
not said anything. Bobcat likes the decals on the thermos. And Rhonda said if it helps Chris, we don't hear a thing. I'm not sure that actually helps Chris at the moment, Rhonda.
Appreciate each and every one of you guys coming and hanging out with us. Like I say, we're just discussing anchor fishing, talking about it as we go. Hopefully, give you guys some tips. It'll be with it. We're gonna do a different technique every week, and then it's the same setup. We're gonna try to give you tips and tricks, stuff that we do. That way, hopefully, you guys can use it in your fishing, make it either a little more enjoyable or a little more effective. Now, I will say another thing I like doing with anchor fishing, I spot hopping. Obviously, it's much easier with not an anchor. You know, with the spotlight trolling motor, you can do it with an anchor too. Just you're gonna be getting a workout in. But I try not to stay in a spot more than 15 or 20 minutes. I'm after the active fish. You know, I can cover anchor fishing wise. I can cover a whole entire bluff wall in an hour and a half, depending on how long it is. You know, move down 20, 30 yards over and over and over again. I find for me that's the most effective way to anchor fish because you still can cover water. But again, it's more of a comfort thing. I know Shayna is not a huge fan of it. She'd much rather either just drag baits behind the back of the boat or drift than trying to make everything and move and recast. To each their own.
I don't have a problem with moving around when you're anchor fishing, but I also feel like if you've picked the right spot, active fish are going to come to you.
And that's another point too. I mean, it really depends. For me, it's a time of year thing, right? I find that in the summer and in the spring, when the fish are more, well, fall too, for that matter, like versus winter. You know, if you're fishing in the winter, the fish are kind of not moving. They're not going to be. Then if you're anchor fishing, you really have the spot move, in my opinion. Whereas, like you said, if they're active, it doesn't matter so much. At that point, you're picking a high percentage area, right? I'm sure you guys agree with me that you're looking for choke points, creek mouths, stuff like that, stuff where it's going to make the fish move. And that's what you would be looking for to fish.
Another part of that is
There's marker.
I'm lazy.
I mean, that's fair too. I think that plays in any kind of fishing, though.
When we're like, if we're in a tournament, 30 minutes rolls by and Telly will tell you, I'm very impatient. We ain't caught a fish in 30 minutes. I'm like, we need to move. But when I'm doing something like this, I have no problem sitting here on this one spot all night long.
Well, when I finally get to the spot I'm going to move up and down it. But for the most part, I'm doing the same thing. It's a bluff wall with a couple of giant trees and then a big giant rock point. I'm going to hit those spots. Go ahead, Chris.
If you think about how Kayak Catfish makes his videos, he'll sit in one spot all day. Yep. But he's in a very high traveled area. Uh-oh, hang on. I may have an issue.
Uh-oh.
Anthony Bobcat wants to know what you're going to do when your trolling motor battery dies.
I'm going upstream, and I'm only going to one spot. So, and I have a regular anchor. And like I said, if I begin to feel like it's going to be an issue, it'll be fine.
You all good, Chris? Oh, uh-oh.
Austin, Dustin has like terrible service for his camera.
Big surprise, right? Me, terrible service.
No. Never, Dustin.
So is everybody seeing the same thing I'm seeing on my camera, just a big blob?
Right now I see a black screen.
I see a blob.
All right, let me leave and come back in.
If you do that, it'll mess up. We'll have to stop and restart, which is fine.
Well, I haven't been doing anything anyway, so we'll work this out and we'll worry about the other stuff later.
Okay.
Hi, Steve.
There we go.
I will say the wind is going to be in my favor in just a minute, which is nice.
Oh, we see Dustin.
In terms of getting to my spot faster.
Let me see if you guys can see what I'm seeing as far as the. See the lighting that I'm seeing?
I do not.
I don't see it. Oh, there it is. I saw it then. Jody pooped. Austin said, Mr. an iPhone wouldn't happen. Said,
I can barely hear you, Lisa. What was that?
Austin says, Mr. get an iPhone and it won't happen. Austin's making fun of you.
You know what? I'm actually
used
going
to
to
that.
stop right here. I am seeing fish everywhere. So I might as well fish it for a minute, right? What's the worst that can happen?
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and go throw anchor. I'll put my light up first so everybody can see. Hopefully that'll help my video quality. But the first time I hear any thunder, I'm out of here.
I got you.
Ooh, there's a big mark. Another thing I wanted to talk about tonight is finding your spot is awesome, but you got to know how to anchor over that spot or get to be able to fish the spot that you want to fish. You know, when you're looking at your graphs, if you roll over a spot, you're like, oh, that's got a lot of fish. You got to know, unless you're spin drifting, you're not casting into those fish. So you're going to want to go, farther upriver or downriver or however it is where you're at. And then you got to take into account for the length of rope, the anchor rope that you put out, how long you cast to cast. If you're wanting to fish a specific spot, then it's important that you know all those factors that go into that.
That's one thing where I'm not very confident if I mark fish and I try to set up above them and there's current, did I move far enough? Am I casting over the fish? Am I way in front of the fish? Am I too far in front of the fish? And I'm not very good with the graph to know exactly how many feet. I don't know how much line I threw out. I don't know how much how much line the current took out. It's a guessing game with me, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have a similar issue.
What I just did, I'm still fishing basically the same spot. I just jogged my boat over a little bit more out of that debris line.
Jody wants to know if she can add something to that.
Absolutely.
All right. For the sake of concern from other individuals, I have deployed my anchor. That is a loud train. I will say I'm not a fan of my 360 light. It's still stinking bright.
Jody says, when you see a fish on the sonar, immediately look at the bank and mark it with a tree on the bank as a visual point to look back on.
That's a great suggestion. That is an awesome suggestion.
Kelly says, evening all, just hopped in to say hi, heading to bed soon. Be safe.
I appreciate you coming in.
Who was it?
Kelly?
My wife?
Yes.
Hey, baby.
She's going to bed.
Sweet dreams. Dream about me.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm awesome.
Why?
Because I'm amazing.
Keep telling yourself that.
I hear that in my sleep.
He's gonna go to. Chris is gonna go to bed. He's just gonna hear the ding, the beep, beep.
Tell
So
you
what
what,
I thought was a giant tree a minute ago,
yeah.
it was a shadow.
Oh,
But it looked like a tree over here on my left side. It wasn't until after I moved the boat over a few times I looked back and I was like, that was a freaking shadow. That wasn't even a tree.
Jody says you can count on your sonar and drive 100 foot ahead and slip back 50 feet, then you know to cast back 50 feet. The main thing is to not cast too far or you miss those fish. Bait has to be in front of the fish.
I think even if you move your boat too far in front of the fish that you mark and you don't cast far enough back to them, if they're actively feeding fish, when they get that scent, they're going to come to your boat.
Telly says yes he is. And Austin said Chris would have said the same thing to me.
I can't hear you, Lisa. I know you said my name, but I couldn't hear you.
Telly said yes he is. And Austin said Chris would have said the same thing to me.
No, I don't think so.
all right.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
So if anybody can see, I get my net out of the way. This is my Never Lost anchor, the Pro Series. And one thing that I've done with my anchors, I made a cheat modification just so that in case something happens and I have to chuck this line overboard, I don't lose my anchor. I've got, you go to Walmart and buy yourself a spool for a extension cord. And that's what my anchor rope is wrapped around.
Nice.
So if anything happens, I just throw this overboard and it floats.
Which that works good for giant boats coming at you at high speed and whatnot, right?
Yes.
bait is past them, then they don't have the scent trail because of the current. Or am I wrong? Teach me.
It's very windy over here today.
All right, I am set up now. My anchor is in. Butterflies is in position. And because of this lightning that I'm seeing tonight, I'm probably not going to move positions, so I'm going to stay right here.
I think all of us are in that position. Where we can stay where we're at due to the weather.
Okay, y'all. Jody wants to know if your bait is past them, then they don't have the scent trail because of the current, or is she wrong?
She's right. If you've thrown over the fish, then they're not going to get your scent trail. Maybe there's a fish behind them that might. Seems like, I moved out away from that debris and now it's over here with me again. It's like it's attracted to my boat.
It might be.
I'm at.
I wish this heat lightning would stop. It's freaking me out.
You and me both. You and me both.
Well, I've done the same thing as Chris and Dustin. I am anchored in the end of a creek mouth where it feeds into the main channel. High travel area, hopefully. See if we can't get a fish on the boat tonight.
Well, I can't get any fresher bait, that's for sure.
Nice. You're just
By the
live,
way,
isn't it?
I'd like to say that this flop box, I've had these fish in there since 9 o'clock yesterday morning.
This
I
is
haven't
that one
lost
you
a
got from
single
Amazon?
fish. I haven't lost a single fish, and 3 out of my 4 lights are still lit.
That in itself is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Now, like I said, the other one you got.
Flopbox. Got a shout out FOA. You all still hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, Lisa says she's reconnecting. Just want to shout out FOA Customs and Gear. Got the FOA effing rod right here, and on with the power line, the 40-pound power line, the 120-pound leader with the 120-pound 3-way swivel. And then also Fat Boy rigs. I've got the flasher rig. You can also get those at FOAcustomsandgear.com. You can find the code in the description, and soon, coming in a few days, you'll find another code. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what's gonna be yet.
My guess is probably gonna be Yak 10, but
That's my guess too, but who knows?
I'm going to tell him to make it beep 10.
tell you what.
Beep 10.
Somebody's a little sensitive about that beeping.
Yeah, you stay here and listen to it. Every 5 seconds. I've counted it. It is every 5 seconds.
Wow.
Well, the Raiders are going with Dustin StreamYard from now on. But since I was already paying for it, I wanted to at least try it.
I know I'm complaining because it's annoying, but don't not use it because I'm complaining.
Well, I got to see how the rest of it does too. But so far with Dustin lagging pretty bad, which is probably because of the upload part. Lisa not being able to stay connected or having the volume issues, and the beeping thing for you. It just may not be a good app. May not be good for this application, which is fine. Like I said, I just wanted to try it.
What gets me is that, if that beeping has something to do with the recording or the uploading, whatever, why is the guest hearing it, not the host?
That's also a fair point. But like I said, you're the only person so far that has had that issue that I've had on here. So I'm not sure if it was a setting on their phone that made so they couldn't hear it or
Probably
what. So
it may have to do with, because I have an Android and they're so high tech and sensitive that it's picking up that.
I also have an Android, so I definitely prefer it to Apple. So
We can't all be awesome.
I'm going to give this
I was
just a
Android
few
from the
more.
start.
I'm going to give this spot a few more. I've got a creek right up here in front of me, and I may go up there, and I'm going to spot lock which I will be anchored, but I may not be able to set still. I may spin in circles. So I'll be able to show them another anchoring technique,
We call it the loop-de-loop.
which is spot lock and drop them.
Yep.
What are you dropping?
Honestly, at the rate that this is currently going with me swaying back and forth, I may have to do that same thing here. We'll see.
Well, up here where I'm thinking about going, I should be able to get out of this debris completely. There's some deep water there. There's the entrance to that creek. And I lost my train of thought.
He's laughing because you sound like me. Something else about anchoring. When you try to find a spot to anchor fish, one of the things I like to do is I like to try to sit on the top, like the very top of the ledge, so I can cast one bait up to the bank, one at the top of the ledge. I fan them out. One at the midway down, one at the bottom, and one on the channel.
Right.
I know we're not telling most of you all that are in here something you don't already know, but we're trying to reach that one person that is interested about anchor fishing and never done it before.
Exactly. Like Justin said, we're not professionals.
I know what I was going to try to say. The reason I won't be able to sit still and cast out over there is because there's a back eddy from all this current. Right where that creek mouth is, there's usually a back eddy that comes in and actually flows the opposite way, and it moves and changes a lot. So when I get up there, if I do this, I will probably either spin in complete circles or spin, just sway back and forth really bad. But if you drop your bait straight down and then bring them up off the bottom, it's a great way to fish. That's a lot of the kayak fishermen. That's what they do is they suspend their baits. And they either set at the opening of a creek mouth or they go downriver with suspending baits.
Exactly.
Suspending baits is probably my favorite way to fish. Actually, it is my favorite.
The takedown.
And then
the takedowns are definitely the takedowns are definitely more impressive that way.
So I'm going to give this till 11:30 right here. As long as I don't get any more shadow trees approaching me. Then I'm going to move up to this creek mouth.
Yeah, those shadow trees can be dangerous. Be careful.
That's true. I do believe we lost our host.
She probably said, "I can't get back in. I'm going to bed."
She might have.
Well, she should have took the beeping with her.
Oh, hang on. She just missed it. Oh, she used up all her hotspot. Uh-oh.
Do you believe I have a barge coming? So that's something we might want to mention. If you're on a river that has barges, when you set up on an anchor, make sure you're out of the barge
path.
Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Because that's the last thing you want to do is be surprised by a barge and have to reel everything up as fast as you can and get out of Dodge. And if you're truly on anchor, that could be a chore.
Well, and if for some reason your anchor gets stuck, it could be dangerous.
When you're spot locked like I am, worst case scenario, you could just start your motor and go.
Right.
Or if you're on anchor, you can throw your rope and go.
That's
I always try to set up in an area where I know the barge is not going to come through.
Yeah, and on the James River here, the barges are typically farther downriver. So I'm in a spot where there's very rarely a barge ever come up this far, and they usually do it during the daytime to come eat at the restaurants up here.
And if you are out on the river and the barge honks and you're not sure if they're honking at you, they're honking at you. Get out of there.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if every state's this way, but in Tennessee, they have right of way, period. The only thing that makes them stop is the Coast Guard.
Couldn't miss my line, could you? I mean, all the other sticks missed my line. Why couldn't you miss my line?
Right.
They wanted to say hi.
Hey, Dustin.
Yeah.
We did, in fact, lose Lisa since we have no way to read chat, which means we can't interact with chat. When you get to a spot where you can sit and mess with your phone, would you be cool with ending this and switching over to StreamYard?
Please, 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 please.
Not for Chris.
Well, what about for me?
Yeah, for you, I'll do it.
All right, well, let me know when you're at that point. For you guys that
I'm
are
almost there.
listening to this, I am sorry. Due to having issues, we will be ending the stream shortly and restarting it. So be looking out for that notification. We're not getting it right yet, but when it does happen, it's going to happen hopefully pretty quick. So,
Well, I got my line in
may
water,
actually,
so
well, probably you want to shift it over to your chest. We're going to log in.
let me go create the stream real quick, and then we'll.
That works. So the next stream will be on Dustin's channel, which is Team Snag and Whiskers on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed over there, try to find it quick and subscribe to the notification. I will share it on my channel as well.
If you're not subscribed to Team Snag and Whiskers, do it for Paisley.
Yes, do it for Paisley.
Chris's best friend.
Man, I love that dog. She's a
She
sweetheart.
loves everybody.
I know her and Josie were having a good time.
Enough of that.
That wasn't me.
Listen how loud my truck is.
Yeah.
I gotta say, these effing rods with the Andy Monster high vis line on these lights that I bought at CatCon, it's pretty sweet.
Are those lights by chance the Hellfires?
They are.
Same ones I got on my boat. They're awesome. See? Dustin just left, so I have a feeling he's ready to get that set up.
Well, I think what I'm
So
going
I'm
to
going to
do
go
is
ahead and end this.
I'm going to go ahead and start reeling up. And look at that. Now that we're going to talking about moving, all the debris is gone.
Yep. That's how it works, man. Hey, I'm going to change spots so I don't have a bite. Oh, hey, we got a nibble. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just sent me the link, guys. So we're going to go and end this. We'll catch y'all over on Team Snag and Whiskers.
All
Appreciate
right.
you joining the ride. If I don't see you again, hope y'all have a good night. But like I said, we're moving over there. We're going to keep fishing. So hopefully we'll see you over there.
All right, I just texted you both the link. All right, we'll see everybody over on Team Snag and Whiskers channel.